Today on Soul Impact, we welcome Michael Cagle, a well diverse artist with a well rounded palette, has gone from Vegas to Tennessee. The story he tells, every one of them are heartfelt. Let's welcome Michael to the show today.
Once I was a drifter, all alone away from home, searching for an answer in my soul. This program is part of the Scene Project's podcast network. The Scene Project features interviews with independent musicians, comedians, and artists from across the Midwest. Become part of our community and support local art wherever you are.
Hi, everybody. I want to welcome you back. I'm your host, Wild Willie, as always. Our guest today, he's actually become a pretty good friend of mine. I would like to welcome Michael to the stage. Michael,
Thank you.
welcome, buddy. Thank you for taking the time out of your night and coming on and talking about what's going on in your life.
It's an honor. Thank you for the invite.
So a little bit about the show, and we've talked off air a bunch. The story behind this is I dealt with a lot of child abuse growing up, and the emotion and the PTSD and the mental issues that come with all that. I see you got pudding. Go, please. Sorry, but
Been there.
a little bit of it comes from I want to take and give people a resource that if they're struggling mentally, they have a resource that they can say, hey, I heard this story on Soul Impact. I really can relate to it. And then it starts diving deeper into the artist or whoever they heard tell their story. Music has always been that thing that taught me basically how to feel. It was okay to be sad. It's okay to be mad. So at the end of the day, I want people to know that they have a safe place to come. And that's what's been so great about this is I'm able to speak with artists, podcasters, authors, whoever, and get them on and tell their story about how music has been a lifeline.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself? I mean, I know you obviously, but let everybody know a little about who you are and
I am a singer-songwriter. That sounds so funny to say. Singer-songwriter. I live in the Seattle area. I basically have been performing, entertaining pretty much all my life. Music's been a tremendous, if not essential part of my life since as young as I remember, 3-4 years old. I have, faced a lot of challenges and struggles. Personally, I went through, as a child, I went through not only bullying in school through high school, but even my home life was pretty abusive. I had a mom that we didn't know actually had some really serious mental issues and didn't really recognize that or knew anything about that, because nowadays everybody, is becoming self-aware of, mental issues and how mental health is so important. And, I basically am someone that is very grateful to be alive. A lot of people say, things like, music saved them, but And I don't belittle that. I can honestly say music as well as theater literally saved my life, because there was a time in my life in high school that I couldn't deal with the bullying and the, you know, just the overall toxic environment that I tried my best, and I got to a point where I just said, "This isn't," you know. I started feeling like a complete failure and a complete loser, and like I didn't see a future that was worth sticking around for. I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. I've always been kind of odd and different, and so I am really grateful for where I'm at now, um, owning who I am, uh, recognizing that I couldn't control the past, and therefore I don't want the past to necessarily control me anymore. So I'm just moving forward with who I am and who I want to be, and bringing out the very best me that I can present.
Well, you're dead right, but you forgot one on who you are, though. You're a podcaster now too.
Yeah, but all of this, a lot of this is so new, because I like I said, I have been really blessed. I've had a really strong 25 years to almost 30 years performing. I have been really, really blessed, and I've been able to perform all over the country and that kind of thing. But this being a recording artist is all new. Radio promotion is all new. Being a podcaster is new. I mean, I had a talk show a couple of years ago that I did once a week, where I interviewed, like kind of what you're doing, interviewed different singers and stuff, and just let them share their music. I don't think it was as deep as this. Because this definitely has a mission. But I never really, for me, I never really think about, who I am, because sometimes I'm still that one person that's struggling to prove himself. And, it's people that, when they say, you're a phenomenal songwriter. And I'm like, and I look around like, who are they talking to?
You?
Yeah. But I don't really. Sometimes, as much as you want to say that the past doesn't have a hold on you, it really does at times rear its ugly head and tell you, even though you're doing things that not only you couldn't imagine yourself doing, but hardly anybody is doing, you still, for me, I don't feel like I'm at that level to be called that. Like I look at Bubba and I'm like, Bubba's a podcaster. I look at you're a podcaster. You have an established show with a vision and a and a message. I'm still that guy that just wants to jump up on stage and sing. It's just weird, getting hits on TikTok or something, because I posted something, is so weird to me, because I don't, yeah.
I get it. I really do.
I need to let myself appreciate where I'm at and recognize, like you, what maybe you've come through to be who you are now. Like this is a kind of a really, and I wrote this album that way. I knew that this album was going to be very personal. I think people are going to relate to a lot of the songs, and the songs are really good and the arrangements are great, but it's very much lyrically driven with a purpose of saying, I know there's a lot of people living in the shadows of the past, and they're having a hard time moving forward and stepping forward and combating people that have said, you'll never make it, you'll never succeed, you're not good enough. I heard that my entire life, even when I was at levels that other people weren't. They were still felt the ability to tell me that I wasn't good enough, or I shouldn't be there, or I didn't deserve to be there. So it's,
and then top it off, we are our own worst critics. We really are. I mean, you mentioned me, and believe it or not, I don't think I'm that good of a podcaster sometimes, but that's because that voice comes up, and I deal with it, and that's what this show is about.
perfect.
It's about uniting the community, and I don't mean the community we live in. Yeah, I live in Salem, Missouri. That's my home community. I'm not going to take that from it.
Right.
But I mean by community, I mean the people at the Scene Projects, now the Phoenix Rising, all of that the people that've been on my show, and those are my community.
Right.
And sometimes I still now have to take a step back and see, June of last year, if you asked me I would be comfortable doing a podcast, I would have said you're crazy. Listen, and I love Bubba to death, and I will say this because it's my show and I can, but he pretty much pushed me into it, okay? I told him I had the idea about doing one, and he's like, all right, we're going to make it happen. Here you go.
We need people like that in our life that recognize, and it's so weird because that's, I think, one of my strengths when I work with people is that I literally see the potential or where they could be, and I could bring that out in other people. I just have a hard time bringing it out in me, or giving myself the ability to say, you know what, I've worked hard enough. I belong. I deserve to be here. I may not be the greatest, I may not be the best, but I bring something to the table, and I deserve to be here.
Exactly. I mean, and that's where, as an artist, a podcaster, whether you're, I'm going to school for audio production, and I'm having to learn that side of it. But I got to be comfortable in myself. And I say this all the time, and Bubba tells me it, and one of the most things I quote that he says, that if you can't believe in yourself and sell yourself, why would you expect other people to buy it? I'm thankful for the podcast world. I really am, because for one, I have gotten so much growth myself just because every episode I share a little bit more about who I am. And now that I'm doing the guest on other podcasts, I'm able to tell my story even more. So it's like, I would love for my podcast to make $1 million and sit at home and not have to work.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I don't care. I mean, I do care, but right now my vision is more important than the money coming in, because my vision is I want anyone that's struggling, whether it's PTSD, we do a lot of stuff at the Scene Projects for Operation Combating Veteran Suicide.
Right.
So they hold a dear spot. But if you're out there and you're struggling with depression, anxiety, whatever that mental garbage you're going through, there's hope. I mean, you take someone like me and you that's had a pretty rough childhood, and I would like to say we turned out okay.
Fractured and a little crazy, but
okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I literally, it was so weird because I was at a really dark spot about a year ago. I was just starting to write, but not feeling like everything was coming together, and there were some things going on, with me personally, and just really dealing with frustrations. And I found myself wanting to resort to to behavior that I had worked so hard not to go back to doing. Like I didn't want to. And I'm like, I don't understand why I'm going through this and why I'm reacting this way. And it really dawned on me that in some ways, because I hadn't really dealt with my past in an honest way and said, okay, um, these things are part of who I am, but they don't need to control me. They may have helped to mold me, but I can change any kind of behavior that I don't like or any kind of mental things. So um, that's where this album came from. The album is called Confessions of a Broken Child because in a way I still feel like I'm that child 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way through high school, whatever. Uh, and there was a lot of damage done, and pushing it aside didn't help because unless you deal with it and then say, I'm going to set this past on fire, or, until you do that, you're always going to be held prisoner to that. And so, that's kind of where the title of my album came from. And a couple of my songs use the terminology broken and or unbroken in the title because I'm closing that chapter off. I'm recognizing where I'm coming from, but I'm not going to let it dictate anymore.
Oh,
And
absolutely. It's about overcoming stuff.
yes,
Unfortunately, we live in a society where that victim mentality sinks in and everybody wants to be a victim. Um, it's not the right mentality at all.
right.
And then not only that, but they get caught up in, I'm a bigger victim than you because,
Yeah.
well, you know, whatever the reason is. I've never been good at that, but it's also about breaking generational curses too, though, because like as a man, we're told to suck it up. Everything's gonna be okay. Real men don't cry. You know,
Mhm.
I could go on.
Oh no,
Um,
it is. There's such a
Stereotype, really.
and a pressure on men to have to be a certain way, even if it's a detriment, even if it means the man is, personally dying inside because he can't come to, or he's not allowed to bring to the surface and confront issues that are making him toxic or making him depressed or making him feel, unworthy. So
Yeah, shove that down. Shove that down. That's what we're constantly told. Shove it
exactly.
down. Shove it down. Well, one of my favorite analogies to use is a trash can. And this is what I tell and I've said it when we talked, and I say it all the time. But you think of a trash can, and you're shoving all that trash down in that trash can. Eventually, that trash can ain't gonna go in. Isn't gonna hold any more trash. So where's that trash gonna go? It's gonna overflow into everyone around you,
Yeah.
and then that trash is not only affecting you, but if I'm next to you and my trash is overflowing onto you, that trash is going to affect you. And then eventually it's going to bring you down. And then it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
To where if we just deal with what's in front of us, because, you know, that's a society thing. That ain't just a man thing. Nobody wants to deal with their trauma. And then you get them group of people that are like PTSD and depression and anxiety. That's not a real illness. It's all in your head. Unfortunately, someone from dealing with what I went through as a kid and in my marriage, I suffer from it. But you know what? Don't mean it ain't there. You can look at a car and see that a car is great on the outside, but you get in it to drive it and something's wrong with inside that motor, you're going to know real quick that something ain't right.
Yeah, it's that's just that's just blunt and honest and real. That's a truth. Is that sitting here plugging my songs, which I'm not trying to do, but
you're good. Go ahead. This is about promoting you. This is about promoting artists. So you do what you got to do. I'm not gonna.
I wrote another song on this album that I didn't. It's out now. It's like on streaming. Is called Mirror of the Soul, and it talks about people putting on makeup, dyeing their hair, getting wrinkle cream, lipstick, all that, and then wearing the designer clothes and the right perfume and everything, so that we can impress people that we don't even know, and yet we're not dealing with what's inside us. That's the most important thing, the thing that actually shows up. And so the song really talks about, what if the mirror didn't show you your outside appearance, but what about that mirror that you looked in revealed how beautiful you are inside, or how much pride you have, how much hate, how much anger, how much bitterness, and it's a really cool song. Like, it's awesome. Like, I love it. And you're listening. It's one of those that you listen to and you're like, this is a cool song. This sounds really cool. And then you delve into the lyrics and you're like, oh, wow. And it's that kind of thing, is that, as a society, a lot of us are just we're not very deep. We want to take everything in with our eyes, as far as what somebody's like. If you see someone that looks like they're, poor and homeless, you look at them different than you would look at somebody that was, eating at a, 5-star restaurant. Even though that person in the 5-star restaurant could be the most vile human being in the world, and the guy that is homeless, just lost everything, not due to himself, and he could have the biggest heart in the world. So it's like, we as society need to, really, especially in today's climate, we need to really not just hang on what people say or what people look like, but what do their actions look like? What does their character look like? That's, to me, is the most important.
Oh, absolutely. How many of them people that are homeless are veterans? I mean, or how many people of them are homeless because of circumstances out of their situation?
Yeah.
Or not out of their situation, but out of their control. We often look at people and judge where they're at, but look where they come from. I mean, you look at me now, I'm living in a house that my upstairs ain't finished, but where was I a year ago? Where was I 6 months ago? Where was I yesterday? It's real easy to judge somebody based upon how they look, how they act. But get to know them. I'm one of the goofiest people you meet, because that's just who I am. I believe in being funny, cutting up, but that doesn't mean, I'm also the same person that cut up jokes at funerals. It's how I deal with things. But it doesn't mean that I don't have a big heart. It doesn't mean that you can laugh at a situation, and doesn't mean you're not hurting through it. So get to know the person.
Definitely. God, it's so funny. Another song on this same album is called.
Keep bringing them up. I'm glad I'm leaving them stairways for you.
I never realized how much this album dealt with all these themes. Like, it's wild. I have a song. It's one of my longest songs. Like it'll never get radio play because it's like 8 minutes long.
Don't
But
say that. Paradise by the Dashboard Lights is an 8-minute and 15-second
yeah,
song.
this
And
is
it got a lot of radio time. Don't say that. Don't sell
No.
yourself short.
well, I appreciate that. This is what you'll like. Whee! But I wrote the song, and it talks about 4 different people. The homeless man, the homeless guy on the street, the heavy set girl that everybody picks on, who they don't really know is actually fighting for her life with a disease, a Vietnam or a veteran living on the streets, and then an unwed teenage daughter who was raped. And so the song that, it's not a big happy song, but it talks about their life story, what we see, what we think they're going through or why they're there. It explains why they're there. And then our mission as fellow Americans and just human beings to take a moment to understand why they're there and to not judge them. It's a powerful song, but it rips a lot of the excuses away, because I wish everybody in the country could hear that song and just really absorb the words, because it really is kind of the state of what we're talking about, where we are as a country. We're into the pretty, we're into the shiny, we're into the things that look, successful, and that's not always where you want to be.
Listen, that's why I can say I'm actually content. I'm happy with what I have. And I guess it might. Hey, shh. But I won't edit any of this out either. This will be all completely 100%.
Dad, I tried.
Okay, Cheyenne, I love you.
No, I tried this.
Okay, thank you. I love you. Now I need you. Okay. Okay. I love you. I need you to. It's okay. Okay. I love you. Stop.
It's okay.
But like I said, none of this will be edited out because I like the authenticity of it.
It's live. This is life happens.
Exactly. I want people to see that, whether they're a single parent like myself,
awesome,
that has a 3-year-old that's wound for sound, that it's okay to chase your dreams. It's as okay to be 36 years old with a 3-year-old and get out there and chase your dreams.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're going to use that into a stairway, and we're going to play this first song you sent me.
This is a world premiere.
This is a what?
This is a world premiere. It's never played.
World premiere. All right, here we go. And this is Broken Child by Michael Cagle. And if you're not for sure how to say it, he says it's like bagel, but Cagle.
There were no bruises you could see, but something shattered deep in me. The words they use cut worse than blows, and silence filled the space they chose. At home, the walls would sometimes shake. Love was something I had to fake. I wasn't soft, I was just strange, trying to fit, to rearrange. They saw the cracks I tried to hide and made a joke of what I kept inside. They laughed, they shoved, they made me small. I learned to not react at all. I'm a broken child, and that's the truth. The kind you don't see in a photograph of you. I carry woes no light reveals, but they shape the way I learned to feel. I never had what others had, but I'm still here, and that's not bad. I told myself it wouldn't last, that I'd outgrow the broken past, yeah. But some things stay no matter time. They hide in corners of your mind. Still here I am, scarred, not gone, still waking up, still holding on. I'm a broken child, and that's the truth. The kind you don't see in a photograph of you. I carry wounds no light reveals, but they shape the way I learn to feel. I never had what others had, but I'm still here, and that's not bad. I live for things I used to miss. Laughter, peace, an authentic kiss. I chased the joy I once denied, but kid, I was still walks beside. I hate the stars, but now I see their proof of the fight. I have to still be me. I'm a broken child, and that's the truth. The kind you don't see in a photograph of you. I carry wounds no light reveals, but they shape the way I learn to feel. I never had what others had, but I'm still here. And that's not bad. I'm a broken child. I'm a broken child. I'm a broken child. I'm broken. And that's not bad. child.
That's it. You're not allowed. Nope. Talking about making a real man cry. Okay, listen. If you're out there and you're a man, obviously it's okay to cry. Oh, listen. As sad as it was for me, my daughter's over there jumping on my bed dancing, so she loved it too.
I really did jump on your bed.
You really did like it and jump on my bed. I know you did.
Oh, yay!
But you are so talented.
It's so weird. Thank you. I just need to say thank you.
You do. Listen, just like I had to say thank you when you said I was a good podcaster, this is your turn to say thank you. Yeah. Through the tears and all. So,
Well, I'm really honestly glad that the music is resonating. And there's been a few men that have responded to some of my songs and said they literally were so overwhelmed by the lyrics and the emotions that they said they are not ashamed to say that they, cried or teared up, or that they had like a moment like, wow, you put into words some of the stuff that I have literally gone 30, 40, 50 years carrying.
yeah, that was a song about my childhood. I'll be honest with you. That song makes you realize, and so does the other one that we're going to be playing here in a little bit, that you made me cry then too. At least I know it's coming.
Yeah.
It's my show. I guess I don't have to cry. That's it. We ain't playing it. You made me cry once. That's all you get. No, just kidding. That's the realness of all this. It's okay to be on camera and it's okay to cry.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm so emotional anyway. I try to be as logical as possible, and I like to think that moment kicks in and I'm really logical, and but at being a creative person, I usually lead with my emotions first, which can and can't get me in trouble. And so I remember the first time I heard some of my songs through, when I was in the studio and we were getting the final master, and I was listening to them and I just started crying. And it wasn't because I thought they were, works of art or whatever, but it was because I had brought to life so many words, so many feelings, so many fears and everything that I had kept. And I had put those words into lyrics, and the lyrics into arrangements. And now I'm listening to things that I'm proud to say I can say, or, and then as a songwriter, which I guess I am, as a songwriter,
you are quit guessing.
As a songwriter, to have that kind of response literally means everything to me, because I know it's cathartic to sing and to be able to. This album is so personal. It's hard for me not to get emotional, but I really wanted the response to be not only that the songs are good, or, damn, you can sing or whatever, but those lyrics hit me like they went someplace I didn't even know existed, or that I had put to rest, and tried to push down. And now you're bringing them, and now I can deal with them. And now I don't feel alone. I'm not the only person that, especially as a guy. I'm not the only person that has gone through, a terrible childhood of abuse. And, obviously, for the audience that doesn't know or can't figure it out, I'm gay. And so growing up gay, when
Wait, you are? Just
I
kidding.
know
Just kidding. Just kidding.
it's a shock. But to, it's tough now. It's tougher now than it was, 10 years ago because of where we're at. But it was a nightmare when you tried to fit in. You just wanted to belong, and everybody recognized that you were different, and they didn't want to, they didn't want to embrace you because you were different, and so the daily shoves and punches and, flat out attacks. I remember, somebody followed me in high school into the restroom so that he could punch me in the face and try to knock me out. That was his goal, just because he felt like that's what I want to do. And I went through that because who I was not accepted. And, that was a part of me. And basically what they were, it felt like they were trying to tell me who you are isn't deserved to be treated with respect, or as a human being. And we're going through that, in the country today. There's just people not taking the time to say, who cares about your race, your religion, your sexual orientation? Who cares about that? What's your personality like? What do you bring to the table? How can you take your talents and make life better for those around you, and maybe for me and you who use media to get our message out? How can we make somebody's life better? What can we do to? And so that's kind of where that song came from. And for me, getting a response from someone like you, and then, the other people that have heard these songs and said the same thing that I'm getting from you is amazing. It's like the greatest reward as an artist, as songwriter, anything else. So, yeah. So, you're more than what you're more than fine.
No, she was screaming, and I'm fine with the noise in the background every now and then, but she was screaming, so I had to mute the mic.
I get it, and I can talk.
I know, I'm taking advantage of it. No, just kidding. But
Right.
see, that's where I am. I'm religious, but I don't push that on anybody. I like to consider me and you become really good friends, and who cares if you're gay? Who cares if I'm religious? At the end of the day, you are a great person. I mean, it doesn't matter. And the same for you to me. You don't care that I'm religious. I
No,
don't push it on you. And
and
that's
you
what it needs to be. It needs to be more open and accepting one another, like you just said.
And-
Well, you know what? Who cares?
Well,
and this is the way I look at it. There's gay people that are bad. There's straight people that are bad.
Yeah.
There's people who are in church that are bad. There are people who aren't in church that are bad. So just because we're different in that aspect, it ain't right to judge someone.
Here's something for you. I have been involved in church and faith and religion most of my life. I was a pastor. I was an evangelist. I was a worship leader. I was an ordained minister. I I'm not one of those that feels that, there has to be, this divide. Well, you're either religious or you're gay. No, I don't believe that. I think everybody's faith is so personal and so important to them, and it does become part of your nature. It does become part of your backbone. It does become part of how you see the world. And it's like, but as long as you don't lose the decency for your fellow brother and sister, if you don't look at the, like we were talking about again, looking straight forward, I could see a certain flag and immediately react to that flag based on what I think that flag is. Now, some flags, obviously, I will forever despise them, but for the most part, somebody that tells me that, hey, I believe in God, or I have a relationship with Jesus, or I'm part of a church. Good for you.
You've never treated me any different, and it's come up in our conversations.
Yeah,
and I've never
Because
treated you any different.
I always look at, if you're religious, are you using that to judge people, or are you using that as something to help people? Are you going to take some of those commandments, some of those teachings of Christ, and are you implementing them to people? Or are you doing it just so you can go, nah, 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 but it's the same thing being gay. There are people that are gay that hate the church, and it's like, it's not the church. It's not the church. It's the people's perception of what they think the church is supposed to be. And it's like, just love one another. We're all going to find out, at the end of the day, how much more we have in common, how many opportunities we've blown, possibly missing out on a friend, making a lifelong friend, or someone that wants to support you, because we have preconceived notions of what that person is supposed to be like based on our biases.
Exactly. And it would be like, I don't say I have a religion. I don't.
Okay.
I say I have a relationship.
Perfect.
And to me, it's different,
Yeah.
And I don't go preaching at anybody, but I look at it as one sin. If, it's no better, and the Bible tells us one sin is better than the other. So I have no right to judge, because it tells us that. Why judge your brother when he has a plank in his eye, or the splinter in his eye, but you have a plank in yours?
Yeah.
So so that's how I look at it, and that's what I'm ordained. Now, did I quit doing it for a while? Yeah, because it wasn't right for me, and when I want to be able to refuse to wed somebody because I don't believe two people belong together, because not their sexuality, but because they're so complete opposite, and that, not so much of judging them, but
I get what you're saying.
So you got to show love. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a Christian, a Buddhism, Muslim, atheist, whatever your religion is, whatever the flavor of your life is. At the end of the day, the most important thing is saying, hey, you know what? I love you. You're not alone. No matter what garbage you're going through. That'd mean like me, we're not in the room, but me extending a hand and saying, hey, Michael, let me help you out. Doesn't matter. And we need to get back to a society that loves one another and quit saying, oh, look, Michael's down, let's kick him. Or let's one-up him because he's down. Or, who cares? And everybody's just obsessed by
that to me is more Christ-like and more to what Jesus taught than running around and trying to find everybody's sin. Like they're going to make extra points with God, hey, I picked out 18 sinners today, so woo, well, you're not looking very hard. So
no, it's like, and I make a joke around here. Around here, we have a lot of highway patrols. At the end of the month, they pull everybody and their brother over, and so I make the same joke too. It's like, oh, a lot of Christians say, oh, I just got to fill my quota for the month. Let's do it at the end. But bring this back to music a little bit. Has there been a time where a moment in your life where music has just been a song, like, and I'm not talking one you wrote, I'm just talking a song you heard in general? What's been that most impactful song for you?
Wow, that is, and when I say that's hard to really, movies and music defined my childhood. I remember, very key important moments based on what song was playing or what movie I was watching.
I get you.
Because
okay, so
it's,
I'll rephrase the question. What genre of music has that?
Oh, wow. Oh. I'm
not making it easy for you, am I?
Oh my God, that's not much easier.
Okay.
No,
so
okay.
Music in general. Okay, let's just.
I will say that I am. My two favorite is contemporary Broadway pop, and believe it or not, good gospel music. And I mean, because there is something about music that is designed to edify you, to build you up, to speak to your spirit as well as your soul. So I remember the first time and this is going to sound really weird. One of the artists that inspired me the most, and I don't sound anything like her, not even the same style, but it was just the way that it was done, was an artist named Sandy Patty. And she was a kind of a Christian singer, but it was her delivery and her enthusiasm and her excitement and her passion. It's like she was just a complete artist. And I remember very vividly debating where I wanted my journey of faith to go and if it was for real. And I was always looking for, what was real. I didn't want to just jump on the bandwagon, and I wanted to just, and her artistry and words really were amazing to me. I remember, I remember Patti LaBelle, who is one of my all-time favorite singers of forever. I remember watching her perform once again a gospel medley, and she wasn't a gospel artist, but she could sing it. But what she was able to do so freely really inspired me. Like, you need to see, for me, it was never about the guitars or the instrumentation, although that's really important. To me, it was about the vocalist getting out there and laying everything out on that stage. Like you
Oh,
knew in that
absolutely.
they were.
Oh, absolutely. Like on your track we listened to a little bit ago, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have to go back and listen to it
Okay.
because I didn't listen to the rhythm. I didn't listen to the music. I'm the type of person when I listen to a song, especially for the first time, I listen to the lyrics. I absorb the lyrics of the song. And I mean, I caught a little bit of the music because I was like, oh crap, I'm supposed to be listening to the whole song, not just the lyrics. And, it's that ADHD in me. I get distracted real easy, but it's the fact that you're real, and that's, I told you this when we had you on Love Noise. The realness and the emotion that you put into your music, that's what I love about artists. And I love the fact that your independent artists are coming more popular. I love that. Not because it's doing away with record labels, but the artists are able to come on and be who they are. You think of Morgan Wallen a couple years ago when he threw the chair through the bar. There was people throwing away their Morgan Wallen stuff because I'm not going to listen to somebody who did that. But the record label painted him as a person that was so perfect that at the end of the day, when you paint someone up on a pedestal, and that's what another thing I want from this is that when people like with you, people are going to know that me and you put our pants on the same way, one leg at a time.
Yeah.
Unless we like my kid and I put both legs on and then I jump in, But, I want people to see that just because, and you're someone that's been around, like you said, you've been in it for 25 years. You were talented, you talk about stuff you've done and, we've not hit on a lot of it, and you talk about the experiences you had, and you mentioned on Love Noise, and we've talked about some off air, and it's just the experience you have and how you take your experience. And to me, I wanted to learn how to play the guitar. I couldn't because I broke my arm and I can't turn my left hand palm up. So I could, but I'd rather be doing this now than
Right.
Now a steel guitar. One of these days, I will learn how to play steel guitar. I love the sound of steel guitar. But anyway, you bring to the table. You bring that with your music. You bring every lyric. It has his heart. And growing up, I wanted to be like Johnny Cash.
Okay.
Because he had that too. Everything he wrote, whether it was crazy, off the wall, he wrote a song about shooting a woman down, but he put the heart into it and he made it relatable, and I'm not condoning violence. I'm not like going to be like, go out and kill somebody. That's the answer. I'm not doing that.
Reenact a song night.
but the realness in it. And that's what excites me about independent artists. And, don't get me wrong. I would like some big name artists on my show, but I'm loving the independent artist scene right now because they're not.
And I really encourage, all unsigned artists or anybody getting into music now. The best way to stand out is to be your authentic self.
Oh, absolutely. No matter what you're doing.
No matter exactly, because it's like it's a tough business all the way around. And hopefully people are artists because they love music, they love their craft, they want to do something with it, they want to share it. But enjoy the moment that you're making the music and make it what you feel like. I I didn't set out to make a tremendous pop album that, I set out to make an album that allowed me to put together experiences and feelings and emotions that I have gone through. And by writing the songs, it was for me. In recording the songs and sending them out, it's for the people. And it's like I tell people, you'll know me, you know so much about me when you listen to this album, if you want to get to know me. But even more important, you might get to know yourself. You might be able to go, wow, this I'm not alone. I'm not alone in how I feel. I'm not alone in, my dreams, my desires, my fears, the things that hold me back, the things that held me back. I'm not alone in that. And I think that's an amazing, my husband tells me all the time, he said, a lot of people say, you're the ballad belter and it's kind of stuck. He said, but you write anthems. You write anthems for people. You write anthems to encourage and, build them up, to encourage them. He said, so you're as much an anthem writer as you are, a ballad writer, because he said even your ballads are kind of anthems. So I'm like,
yeah, even your song earlier, it still makes you want to kind of dance. You want to cry and dance at the same time. Okay, I don't know if you're crying because you're dancing or dancing because you're crying. I mean, I don't know, but I can tell you, a 3-year-old was definitely getting down to it. And she's like, I like this.
Oh,
it's the fact that, and I think not just with you, with artists, with podcasters, anyone in the line of work that we're in, you got to be real. I mean, you're going to have obstacles. You don't think I've had obstacles in the 7 months I've been doing this? I've had my fair share. But you know what? At the end of the day, find that why.
Yeah.
And your why is going to ever change. Like when I first started, my why was because I wanted to find something that made me a better person and a better dad. Now my why has evolved a little bit into I want to help thousands. I want to be able to, and it's really cool. Like now I go out in public and my show has gotten a little bit of, it's not a huge following, but it's a decent following. And people are like, I was at a bar the other night DJing and someone come up to you, hey, you're Wild Willie. I was like, yeah, I am, but I'm like, yeah, I just announced that. He's like, no, I seen your podcast. I was like, well, and I DJ for all sorts of events. And, right after I started, and it kind of been my moment for me where I knew I made it. Granted, I still have a lot of progress, but I knew as a podcaster, I do a hero marathon. I DJ it every year at the finish line.
Okay.
And a guy from, I can't remember where he's from, but it wasn't Missouri. And I think it might have been Utah. I don't quote me on that. And he comes up to me and he says, hey, I know you. I was like, probably not. He's like, no. I heard your interview you did about veterans. And I'm like, really? He's like, yes. I've shared it with all my veteran friends. And I'm like, well, I appreciate that. And he's like, I want to thank you for being a voice for us. I'm like, well, and that's when I knew that I found my calling. I love DJing, I do, but I love podcasting more than I ever did DJing because when I'm DJing, I'm behind it. Okay. When I'm DJing, I don't have that I don't have the intimacy. I'm there playing music. I don't have the
right.
And that's what I love about this. we've been on an hour, and we're probably going to go a little longer unless you got to go. But we have the intimate conversations about the crap we faced, the crap we're still overcoming.
Yeah.
You know, but we're going to get to your other song real quick before we run out of time. And y'all listening, you better go get. Hey, Cheyenne, go get me the tissues off the table. No. No, just kidding. But I was joking. I'm sorry, sissy. But this next song, and it's one of my favorite I've heard you do. It's such an incredible song. This is Unbroken in Your Light by Michael Cagle. Can you hear it?
I didn't come to you perfect. I came with cracks I tried to hide, carrying pieces of the life I never asked for, pieces that still wake me up some nights. I've been stubborn when I should have been soft, closed off when I should have let you in. But you stayed even when my storms rolled through. You've held my hand and called me home again. True healing from the past means not leaning on it like an excuse. It's standing here raw and open, letting the scars show, but not letting them choose. I'm a work in progress, and every day's a win, because you're still here believing in me again. Thank you for loving me through my fire and my fight. I'm yours undying, unbroken in your life. You've given space to all my wild ideas. You caught me when I jumped too soon. You've let me dream without a ceiling, even when the world thought I was a fool. And you never made me feel too much, never made me feel like I had to change. You just stand there, steady and sure, while I learn how to give my love without chains. True healing from the past means not leaning on it like an excuse. It's standing here raw and open, letting the scars show, but not letting them choose. I'm a work in progress, every day's a win, because you're still here believing in me again. Thank you for loving me through my fire and my fight. I'm yours undying, unbroken in your life. Trust is a song you taught me how to sing. And every time I start to doubt myself, you remind me what forever really means. True healing from the past means looking forward more than I look behind. It's giving you my best, even when I'm tired, because I know your heart is still holding mine. I'm a work in progress, but I'll fight for us. Every day's a victory because I've got your trust. Thank you for loving me through the dark and the light. I'm yours undying, unbroken in your light.
I ain't got to tell you what you think about that. I think about that song. You already know how I feel about that song. At least it didn't cry as bad this time.
It's
No.
it
It's a true honor, buddy. It really is. To be able to hear, and not just hear, but by knowing you know your story. I want to thank you for coming on here today.
my pleasure.
It's been
It's
an
not-
amazing conversation. We'll definitely have to do it again.
Oh yes, anytime.
Be careful what you wish for. No.
No, you do. You create such a great atmosphere, and you know the nice thing about you is you also open yourself up to reveal who you are as well, and that really sets a really good runway for the interview to take off, because I don't feel any kind of phoniness or like you're putting on some kind of I'm Wild Willie, you're being you, and that just invites people to open up and just connect with you. And you can't do a can't do a podcast can't do a podcast if you don't connect, if you're not capable of connecting. And you really do a great job, sir.
Well,
And
I appreciate that. That means a lot. Like when someone compliments your music, that's what that means to me. It means it means the world to me. Thank you.
It's really true.
It's about it's about helping people get freedom from their past. We all have one. I'm not gonna say mine's worse than yours or yours worse than mine, but trauma's trauma. And if we cared less about whose trauma was worse and more about helping each other out, there's times where I'm sure where I'll have to lean on you or you lean on me, because that's what friendship's about, you know. And I tell everybody when they come on my show, and I kind of already don't have to tell you because you're part of the Scene Project Network, but welcome to the family. I mean, because initially that's what this is. That's what I want. I don't want someone that just comes on my show and then I never hear from them again. I don't want that.
No, because it is
stay connected to it. And that's why I pre-screen everyone on my show. If I call you or I talk to you and I can't carry on a conversation with you, obviously, it's not a fit. I didn't do it at first, and I had a guy come on and try to talk about politics. And then I I kept telling him, I was like, we don't talk about that. The great thing is, I still have the episode.
Okay.
And I was respectful, and I told him that it's not going to air. I don't want this. And then I had another interview where a guy just kept dropping GD. I am religious, and there are people that are religious that watch this.
Right.
And I don't want it to hurt someone else's walk, whether it's for me or not.
Yeah.
And I told him the same thing. I was like, I'm not airing this episode because that's not what I want on my platform.
Right.
I want to encourage someone, and I don't mind. Like you slipped up earlier and you said it, but it ain't full of vulgarness. It's, there's rawness to it, but there's no vulgar. And it's like, you can get a message across without dropping a bunch of cuss words in a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this. And, like as I progressed, and I have gotten a lot more professional, I like to think. Where my first one,
I think you're doing a hell of a job.
I appreciate it. I really do.
It's basically you kind of tapped into it. I'm very much relationship oriented. I believe in partnering with people, collaborating with people, helping them achieve their goals, having them help me achieve mine. And you can only do that by establishing relationships.
Oh, absolutely. I can't sing to save my life. I would love to. I'm a DJ karaoke guy, and I do karaoke, and I'm pretty sure people probably are like, where's the earplugs? Okay. I would love to be able to get up there and surprise everybody and learn how to sing. But honestly, I don't see it in my cards.
Okay. But you have your gift. You have what you're good. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
and that's what I was trying to say is you have your talents. I have my talent. I'm a great people person. I'm good at this. I'm good at stairway and conversation, and we talked about it in the Phoenix Rising recording meeting today that I'm on Facebook restriction right now because I sent too many messages. That's just who I am. I see someone and I'm like, ooh, I don't sleep at night. I have insomnia, so I don't sleep well. And so I stroll through Facebook and I'm like, ooh, I bet they'd be a good fit for my show. Let me send them a message. And now apparently Facebook don't like it. So, but why don't you tell everybody where they can find you at?
Well, normally at a really good restaurant. No, I'm just joking.
And as long as they're buying, no, just kidding.
That's funny. Well, if people are interested in my music, I know it sounds cliche, but I'm on virtually all the streaming platforms, from the big ones to kind of the weird ones like Deezer, and
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, I guess it's a good streaming platform. So all you have to do is look up my name and my music will be there. I do have an official website, but I need to update it because it looks kind of dated, I guess. But that's www.michaelcagleonline.com. And then the same website, because I bought a couple domain names and I just stuck them all on the same website because I'm just weird that way. Balladbelter.com is it'll take you all to the same website. But anyway, I'm there, I'm on Facebook. I'm just really trying right now to make the biggest impact I can with what I've got. And so I love talking with people, even if I don't necessarily agree with them, because I'm a firm believer in we have more in common as human beings than we will ever have not in common.
I'm not
You
a
know?
human being. I'm an alien.
Okay. That's where do I go with that?
But no, you're right. You're right. I mean, it's not E.T. phone home.
E.T. photo.
But no, you're right. It's about connection. It's about helping each other out. It's about, who cares what I believe or what you believe? Obviously, some of our beliefs don't line up. But you know what? That's okay. And it's and when society needs to get back to where it's more about accepting one another instead of what I say goes, blah, 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 blah. You know what? Who cares? Who cares if you think I'm right or I think I'm right or you think you're right or I think I'm right? Who cares? Agree to disagree. I mean, grow up, and that's going to sound a little harsh, but grow up, do some soul searching, and figure out what you got to do to be able to love another. And if you're out there, and this is my little cliche I say on every episode, but if you're out there and you're struggling and you feel like you're back against the wall, first of all, find a support system. And secondly, I love you and you're not alone. At the end of the day, find me on Facebook. I'll carry on a conversation with you. I love conversation. And just learn to love yourself. You are made the way you are. Every little imperfections, you were made that way. Just remember, you're loved and your value is more than what people identify you as.
Oh yeah.
But Michael, thank you, buddy. I enjoyed that. We're going to wrap this up. Do you have any advice for someone struggling with? Kind of leave this last little bit of advice for you. Or any advice for someone going through mental garbage? We'll call it.
First of all, yes. First of all, you have to allow yourself to acknowledge that crap happens with everybody. And that doesn't diminish what you're going through. And that's not why I said that. It's to say we're all kind of in the same boat. We're all built basically the same way. So when you're struggling with things, understand first of all that it's okay, because denying that you are just means you're going to press it down and suppress it and never deal with it, but the ugliness will still try to find a way out. So if you're dealing with, situations with a bad past, or, you're embarrassed by something that you may have done or that didn't do, forgive yourself and allow yourself to say, I'm human. I make mistakes. No one is perfect. But the best thing that I can do is try to be the best me. And sometimes the best me is just taking an inventory. And then when you recognize things that you don't like or that you went through, acknowledge them and then put them away. And if there are things that are causing you guilt, then forgive yourself and say, I'm not going to put myself in a position like that again to have that happen or that to manifest. Just, we need to be kinder to ourselves. And then just realize we're all in this thing together, and don't be afraid to find someone to talk to. If it gets to be a lot, like if you are really truly wrestling with issues that wake you up at night, you need to find someone that will guide you and help you and counsel you, or just be there for you, that you can let that all out. And then, in that, there's so much healing. I didn't want to admit my childhood because
No one does. No one does.
I was embarrassed. I was totally embarrassed by it. So rather than saying yes, it was something that is 100% in my past and definitely helped define and mold me, I have to acknowledge it and then say, what part of that is still trying to attach itself to me? And then by doing that, you can break free of it. So communicate, be honest with yourself, give yourself space for forgiveness, and then find some people, or a group of people that you feel safe with, that you can share some of those things that, are really hindering you. And they are. They're hindering everything about your life. So let them free. So
Absolutely. And I'm going to say one thing on the forgiveness. If you have someone you ain't forgive or forgiven, do it. It's not for them. Forgiveness is not for the other person.
Yeah.
You can't truly let something go until you have forgiven somebody for it, little or small. So, but Michael, thank you again, buddy. And guys, until next time, I said this once already, I'm saying it again. I love you and you're not alone.
Perfect.